moving along in the chronology here, in 76 and 80, after, you've now been at it for, a good while at that point, and you're pretty coveted, you're asked in those years to star in two movies that ended up being at the center of a lot of debate, and one of them has really had its reputation grow over the years since then, but took a lot of flack at the time, and those were the 1976 version of King Kong that Dino De Laurentiis produced, and then the Michael Cimino 1980 film, Heaven's Gate, which we talked about last night when Isabel was here. And I guess the question is, these were probably bigger in size and scale, I would guess, than anything you'd done up to that point. What was it that drew you to it, and did you ever imagine until they really came out that they would be so divisive?
Well, let's see, where do I begin? Both of those, when you ask me these questions, my brain just, goes crazy. Watching the first clip that you said there, you saw, in the beginning of the presentation here, what occurred to me is it's almost like different incarnations, that you have as an actor, and you see all these lifetimes flashing in front of you, and as you mentioned those two movies, I get these flashes, because they were both very long. I think King Kong was maybe 9 months long, and, Heaven's Gate was easy 6, and now my mind is kind of jangling about so many stories in each one of those movies that I want to tell. This story just popped into my head just now, King Kong story. We're shooting the death of Kong, where the monkey falls off the towers, and we're at the trade towers. That's where this one was, and the monkey's down at the bottom. And this little guy comes up to me and says, "Do you like my temple?" I say, "Your temple?" He says, "My temple." Yeah. I say, "What do you mean?" He says, "I walk across the temple. I walk across." I said, "You walked across?" I think, oh, and then I realized this is Phillipe Petit.
Yeah.
This is the guy who walked across, that Bob Zemeckis, another Santa Barbarian, made the walk, about his life. And there he was, Phillipe Petit, and I think it was that year. Was it 76? I think that was the year. And he, in about 5 minutes, he taught me how to juggle. He says, "Do you juggle?" I said, "No." He said, "I'll show you." And he taught me how to juggle. And he was sentenced for walking across. His punishment was to perform for free in the park for a year. That was his punishment. And you would see him when we would be shooting, you'd see him holding onto a taxi on a unicycle. And he would come like this into a group of people, and without saying anything, he would line people up, to do a show. He would get some strong-looking guys to hold this rope that he had. They would just hold it like that, and he would jump up on this rope and do that, and walk across, do a show, then get everybody lined up, and without saying a word, he would do his hat like this and take his unicycle and go like this, right down the line, and catch a cab, and then off he would go.
So it's a distraction from the movie itself. Was the production of either of these, did it feel like there were issues in the making of it?
Oh man, the stories in my head. I think this multi-million-dollar movie. I think they made a mistake. They made 2 giant right hands. They didn't have a left hand. Things like that. I can remember John Gillerman, the director, is an English guy, and it was the scene where the monkey is holding Jessica Lange. By the way, I think her performance and Chuck Grodin's performance, they got the tone of the whole thing. They'd not, and it was tough. That's tough, because Jessie now, what she does, but that was a hard thing to pull off. So Jessie's in the giant hand, and this is back in 76, the technology is nothing like today, and they have, it's made in Italy, the hand. Dino De Laurentiis, it was a Dino movie. And they had an Italian guy on each finger operating, one of these things, and John would say, "All right, the index finger, move the index finger," and then there would be an interpreter who would say, and it would just, and finally John, who would blow up every once in a while, he would say, "Just watch my bloody hand," and he'd hold his hand like that, and so you had all these Italian guys looking at his hand and practically crushing Jesse. I mean, there were times, "Oh no, stop it, stop, oh, terrible thing." I mean, many stories on that movie. Oh, God. Stop me.
Oh, that's great.